Do you know what your number one core competency is? Is it leadership or marketing or sales or building relationships or whatever? Last year was one of our highest grossing years ever. So there was a lot of momentum. And often when there's a lot of momentum, the leaders inside of our companies jump back in and they start taking on more work personally, just to kind of keep up with the growth. The problem with that is that when this happens, there's people like marketing managers who are now chipping in and helping people in other departments like copywriters or web designers, which is a real life example because earlier this year I found out that one of our marketing managers was writing sales copy because that company grew so fast that we couldn't onboard copywriters fast enough. And that was great for him to do temporarily. But when somebody does that, it's often difficult for them to pull back and be the rock star marketing manager again, which eventually kills revenue. So it's important to always ask yourself this one question. Do you know what your core competency is, right? The number one most important thing that you're great at. And then ask yourself, how much time do you spend doing things that are not associated with your number one competency? I have an advisory firm where one day a week I stop working in my company and I help a small handful of other entrepreneurs to grow their companies. And one of the businesses in there was stuck at about the $5 million mark for about 6 years before he got in. And then about 18 months later, when he was closing out his books for the year, he told me that he was closing out at about $57 million, from $5 to $57 million. And for those 6 years that he was stuck before he got in, he did all of his Google ads, and he dealt with his warehouse, and he wrote all of his sales copy, and he managed his team, and he had his hands in pretty much everything else because nobody else, at least he thought, nobody else did anything else as good as he could, right? The hardest thing for him was to let go of everything except for the one thing that he was amazingly good at, which was managing Google ads. He's probably the best that I've ever seen managing Google ads, and he doesn't do it for anybody other than his company. Knowing what your number one core competency is and staying in your department is a prime focus for every person in every company that I own, invest in, or advise, and it needs to be the case in your business too. You've got to spend time finding out what your number one core competency is and the number one core competency for everybody else on your team, and then keep yourself and each person on your team focused on doing what they are great at to drive growth in their department. And if you do that, you'll be amazed at how much faster you grow over the next few months.